66% of millennials have nothing saved for retirement. So we chatted with one woman about her spending habits and her thoughts on investing.
What are my financial goals? Saving. So I prefer to spend my money on experiences than electronics or any products of that sort because I believe memories are more important. So when it comes to budgeting, I do use Excel. I strategically plan out all my expenses for the month when it comes to rent, groceries, miscellaneous, whether it's going to the movies or not. At my age, I believe investing is very important. I believe that in today's time, we focus primarily on saving versus investing. We focus too much on having one source of income. If I had the opportunity to sit down with a financial expert, I would probably ask, what do you think as a millennial, what would be more reasonable, direct investing or mutual funds?
Interesting information. Bruce Sellery, our finance expert.
Hi, Tracy. It's great to see you.
How you doing, buddy?
Great.
I want to talk about millennials and investing.
Yeah.
Why are you focusing on this group in particular?
Well, I was a part of a study that focused on millennials, and we found that they're saving, but they're not investing nearly to the extent that they should be. And that's a problem because when we look ahead decades from now, we need to ensure that they have a nest egg for retirement. So we wanted to figure out why aren't they investing and what we can do about it. And as I go through some of the insights, you will notice that they apply to everybody who's not investing. They're kind of the same thing, but our focus was on millennials. It applies to all.
Okay, so they are saving, though.
They are saving.
savings.
Surprisingly, they're saving. What they're not doing is taking that next step. And one of the reasons may be that they go through a phase that boomers certainly didn't go through and not as many Gen X's went through called emerging adulthood. It has a name. It's got a name.
Okay.
The cynics would say it's failure to launch or lying on the couch or whatever it is. So in the olden days, it was adolescent adult. And now there's this period of emerging adulthood where, you know, millennials, there's uncertainty, there's so many options, and they don't necessarily do the things associated with adulthood as early as their parents did, investing being one of them. Do you know one of the ways that we can help millennials start looking further to the future?
How?
Is show them a photo of themselves at age 70.
Does that work?
It works. Here's a study. They did a thing where they took a photo of a millennial in the present, aged it forward with software, and then had them spend $1,000. The people who saw that photo put $172 to retirement. The people who didn't see that aged photo put $80 to retirement. So it's really important to picture your future self because you don't want that future self to go hungry, right?
That's interesting. So we have a situation here where, like, my parents were looking, I don't know, 50 years into the future always.
Yes.
And then my generation, we're sort of looking, maybe 15 years into the future because, you know, we want to make sure that we can still be drinking wine in 15 years. And then the younger generation, they're not looking, what are they looking?
3 months.
3 months.
3 months. They're looking 3 months into the future.
What am I doing in October?
What am I doing in October? And, you know, that manifests itself in lots of different ways. It's not just investing. It's jobs. It's all sorts of things that they have a harder time looking through the longer-term lens.
Very interesting. Okay, so you got to help with that. Let's talk a little bit about values. I feel like that has sort of shifted along the years, the importance of experiences versus work-life balance.
You talk to anyone under the age of 35, and they will talk about experiences as one of the most important things for them. And that's important as it relates to investing because so much of the industry is very judgy-judgerson, like you need to invest for retirement. And what if we shifted our paradigm to say we need to help people identify what motivates them? What motivates them? Because even if you think about experiences, with thought, a millennial would say, I want experiences today, tomorrow, and when I'm 70 or 80. So you can get them there just using some different verbiage. And we also have to remove the judgment because there's a lot of finger wagging. And if we can help millennials identify what they want and then stop judging them for the choices that they make, they may actually kind of step into it and say, yeah, I'm totally going to invest for the future because this is a good fit for me.
Yeah, we have to think about the situation. They've paid all this money for school, or their parents, and they're coming out and they can't find jobs. Why wouldn't you want to go out there and embrace life? And I think there are a lot of lessons we can actually all learn from millennials when they walk into a workplace and they say, by the way, I'll be taking a year mat leave. I'll be doing all of these things because they want to make sure their life, their work fits around their life.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing nothing wrong with that, but I like the idea of taking away the judgment from that. So let's talk a little bit about investing for everyone now, because I think it's not just a millennial thing. A lot of us find it difficult to jump in there and understand it.
It's so overwhelming. All the terms and all the ads and all the conflicting things. And one thing that we can really do better is helping people experiment with investing. Because if you think about how people learn these days, you don't pull out a paper owner's manual to figure out how to use the iPad. You use the iPad. And you flip and swipe. And even someone who's 80, when they learn to use the iPad, they're doing it intuitively. So how do we take that lesson and apply it to investing and allow people to experiment? The other thing is around social media, which is relevant for millennials. It's my mom's on Facebook. She's 82. Is social comparisons are really, really important. And when it comes to investing, we don't want to compare ourselves to Kylie Jenner, right? Or these other people that are not in our world. We need to compare ourselves in a relevant way and comparisons that are achievable, so that people don't think that they have to look or feel or behave or vacation in the way of the superstars, because that's just not the way that it's going to go. So financial institutions can do a better job of comparing you and me. We're kind of in the same world, and someone who makes more or makes less or has this job or that job, compare within that set so that people feel like, oh yeah, there's something I can do about that.
Oh, I like that. So you're tempering the expectation.
Absolutely.
Because right now the expectation is way out of whack.
Kylie Jenner.
You can't get on a private jet. You're 22.
Yeah, what do you think? You are a life failure.
Yeah, you're not. You can't do that.
What's your, what's your shoe line? What's your trip to the moon? We're never doing any of that.
Yeah,
now, I want to make sure that I sneak in my tips to get started right away.
Yeah, go ahead.
First off, open an account at what's called a robo-advisor. So this is this new world. There used to be direct investing and financial advisors. Now there's this new middle ground called a robo-advisor. It's really easy to do, especially if you don't have a lot of free money hanging around. Second is set up an automatic transfer. So on the day of your paycheck, I've talked about this 12,000 times, but I'm a big believer in it, because even if the amount that you're investing is $50 a month, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You're in the game, you're in the game. And then the third thing I'd say is read a couple of articles. 3 articles a month. That's it on investing. So don't watch the business news, don't read the business press, don't read 12,000 personal finance books. Just read a little bit and learn over time. And then the last thing, just to park in the back of your mind, is how can you increase that amount from $50 to $60 or $70 over time. We just want people to get in there, because once they're in and once they're investing, then they can tweak it and improve it and get better at it. But we just need to get people started.
Do you suggest going to a financial institution? Maybe this is not something that a millennial would do, but going to your financial institution and just asking them for help with your personal finance?
You might. Here's the thing.
I know they're going to sell you their products.
They will sell you your products. The other thing is millennials begin with a device. So their first relationship is with a device. And these robo-advisors have an amazing interface, so you can download the app and get started and get signed up in a half an hour. Whereas when I go into a bank branch, I make an appointment, I bring magazines, I bring my lunch, I bring all sorts of things, I darn my socks, anything, because it just takes forever when you go into a branch.
Okay, I just made a comment that a 92-year-old would make.
You did.
Don't go to the bank.
Tracy
I still
is 92.
go to the bank.
What is that, a bank? I don't even know what that is. What?